At the stroke of 10 on Wednesday, May 7th, 2014, I bid you good morning and welcome to the 125th anniversary celebration of the dedication of Seminary Hall. I'm Steve Turner, the 19th President of Northeastern State, and it's my honor to stand before you today in front of this iconic place of learning to honor the historic path that led to its construction and to the subsequent years of service it has provided to at least 6 generations of students. But we're also here this morning to share ideas and to challenge our imagination so that we can chart the path ahead for our institution. We will explore these and other themes during our program today. At this time, I ask everyone to rise for the presentation of the colors by the NSU ROTC Color Guard, followed by the singing of the national anthem. After this, please remain standing for the invocation provided by Joe Bird, Tribal Counselor of the Cherokee Nation.
It's an honor to be here today as we look at this beautiful building behind me, Seminary Hall. A lot of the elders years ago, they didn't speak a whole lot about the Trail of Tears because of what it stood for, but they often spoke about this Seminary Hall. And it's through this foundation that we have as Cherokee people, even after removal. What makes us who we are is the rooted deeply that we have in education. A lot of tribes stand for many different things, but the Cherokee, the foundation of who we are is education. Let's go to our Creator in prayer. We are gathered here today at this Seminary Hall, one of the foundations of our people. No, let's go. No, let's go. Niga you. I need to let. No, let Niga doa. The house daily do hesti. Kohi eagles a lee head league. Be with our leaders today, dear Lord. Be with our chiefs, Cherokee Nation, UKB, our president, the faculty, and the students who are probably in the midst of taking their finals. And we just thank you for such a beautiful day you have given us today. and the weather that we have had. And we just thank you, dear Lord, for all the blessings you have given our Cherokee people. Ski stella he do hestu negada nizaleki do zuk tani do ha. Unigo the gun unilos. Asen esti yoza calf shoes negato aslia ha kohi ikzo. We will not forget what our people stood for. And again, the foundation of what the Cherokee people are is education. With that, I say thank you very much, dear Lord, and we give you all the praise in Jesus' name. Wadon, wadon.
Thank you, and be seated. Thank you, Councilor Byrne. And thanks also to the Cherokee National Youth Choir under the direction of Mary Kay Henderson, who performed earlier this morning, and to the Northeastern State University Brass Quintet under the direction of Dr. Norm Wieke. Both groups will perform again later in the program. I also want to thank the Cherokee Heritage Center for the wonderful demonstrations prior to the start of the program. You will be seeing more of them later. You can see we have a great crowd today and a full stage. Not to worry, not everyone on the platform is going to speak. And I assure you that each of our speakers will do their best to be brief, and we will not detail every event over the past 125 years. Our speakers will introduce themselves as they bring greetings, but I do want you to meet some of our other guests from the university. I ask you to hold your applause until all the introductions are complete. First, members of the NSU Cabinet. Dr. Pam Fly, Dr. Laura Boren, Mr. David Kane, and Mr. Hardcastle, Ben Hardcastle, Cabinet. The NSU Executive Council members, Ms. Peggy Glenn, Dr. Ron Cambiano, Mr. Tony Duckworth, Faculty Council Chair, Dr. Cheryl Vandenhandel, Staff Council Chair, Mr. John Asbill, Student Government Outgoing President, Mr. Thomas Teague, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts, Dr. Phil Bridgman, Seminarian Representative, Mr. Rick Ward. Would you stand and recognize these folks? Thank you. I'd like to introduce a few other people in the audience. First, my wife, Penny Turner. Sitting next to Penny is chair-elect of our governing board, the Regional University System of Oklahoma, Regent Susan Winchester. Welcome, Regent. I've seen several elected or former elected officials in the audience. Would you stand as a group and be recognized at this time? City Council, any of you folks, please, thank you. Now let's recognize a very special group. I want to ask the members of the Event Advisory and Event Planning Committees to stand. They have done a great job. Would you stand and be recognized? Thank you so much for making today possible. I'd like to introduce Ms. Cherokee for 2013 and 14, an NSU student, Julie Thornton. Julie, welcome. Let me say thank you to our sign language interpreter, Jamie Combs, and to the many, many staff and volunteers who have worked so hard to make this special day in our university. Yes, thank you, Jamie. You know, in the parlance of public speaking, this part of the program is referred to as the occasion. It's the time when I'm supposed to say phrases such as, "We are gathered here today," and then go on to talk about how important this occasion is. But most of us already know that this is an important day. We understand the 125th celebration for any public building in Oklahoma is rare indeed. I look out and I see many familiar faces. Faces like former President Larry Williams and Pam. People who love this building and this university. People who have served and are continuing to serve the ideals of scholarship, leadership, achievement, commitment. This is much more than a ceremony. It's more like a family reunion. Welcome home. Today is a celebration of a rich educational and cultural heritage that can be traced well beyond the 1889 dedication of Seminary Hall. Shortly after their forced settlement, the Cherokee Nation established an approach to education that stood apart from the many mission schools in Indian Territory in the 19th century. The nation combined common school and private school education practices in a unique way. Their monetary commitment to the educational purposes amounted to over 1/2 of their national financial resources. It took enormous courage, even audacity, for a displaced nation to enter into the raw frontier and commit so many of their resources to educate their citizens, both men and women. The bond between this university and the Cherokee Nation has never been stronger, and Chief Baker, I pledge that our incredibly strong bond will grow even greater in the years ahead. For those of you that know me well, you're aware that I love to read history. And we're certainly honored to have so many outstanding and knowledgeable historians here this morning. With so many experts present, I'm taking the risk by trying to capture the atmosphere of the 1889 dedication in my remarks. In fact, I'm going to call on Dr. Norm Wieke, the NSU band director and recent father, to set the mood with music from the period to help me out. A newspaper article from the Cherokee Advocate written in May 1889 reads, "The weather was just right, neither sunshine nor storm, and just enough wind to make it pleasant. Between 2,000 and 3,000 people were present and were counted, among whom were representatives of every district in the nation and every class of citizens. The procession was over a mile long. They were preceded by the Tahlequah brass band." Wait a minute, Norm, wait. You know, I was hoping to evoke the spirit of that procession from 1889, and well, honestly, that music is just not doing it for me. Can you try something else? That's more like it. Ladies and gentlemen, history does repeat itself. Hey, do we know how to party or what? We're going to party like it's 1889. This really is a celebration now. Thank you for joining in on the fun. I want to thank the many groups who were in the procession, members of the Cherokee Nation, townspeople, members of the Masonic Lodge, and students. These relationships from 1889 endure today because of a common sense of purpose, shared values, and a commitment to help one another be successful. Before we move along, it's time for a family reunion picture. Our award-winning university photographer, Pete Henshaw, is in his perch. So I ask everyone to stay seated, look behind you and to your left. Pete will give us a wave when he's going to start snapping. That image will be posted on the Seminary History website tomorrow. Just go to the website and search Seminary Hall. Here we are, you tell us. Come on down, Todd. Thank you, Pete. I think I should point out that just like the dedication in 1889, there's neither sunshine nor storm, and the wind is just enough to make it pleasant. History really does repeat itself. Well, Dr. Agnew, you have quite an act to follow, but it's fitting that you provide us with the updated Seminary Hall narrative of this anniversary. Brad was a featured presenter at the Seminary Centennial in 1989. He is a 2011 Centurion honoree, and just last week, he received the 2014 Model the Way recognition. Dr. Brad Agnew.
President Turner, it certainly is going to be a tough act to follow. But the parade that it represents marked the beginning of a chronicle of educational achievement that will challenge us and future generations to equal. After crossing the Tahlequah Springs Branch Creek onto the campus of the recently completed Second Female Seminary, the 1889 procession continued to a sheltered area on the building's north side. The dignitaries climbed the stairs to the second-story balcony, and others gathered on the ground below. In early May, some of the women had changed from their winter wardrobes and were in the white summer frocks, while others were in the dark garb of winter. Men and boys were clad in dark suits, and almost everyone, men and women, wore broad-brimmed hats. Not one of the thousands who gathered for the parade and the building's dedication survived to attend the commemoration of the centennial of its formal opening 25 years ago. But a few students who had attended the seminaries were present on that May 7th, 1989 morning. They constitute a living link between Northeastern and the building's origin as a school for young Cherokee women. Inevitably, in the 25 years since that centennial observance, the number of seminarians that attended the May 7th observation dwindled. not long after the beginning of the 21st century, only the descendants of the seminarians attended the reunions. Our human links with the building's origins have been severed. Only one remaining witness to the entire saga of Seminary Hall remains: that black walnut tree at the building's southwest corner. It witnessed the structure's construction, its evolution from a high school for young Cherokee women to a state normal school, to a teacher's college, to a liberal arts college, and finally to its designation as a regional university. Ironically, the tree the tree stood beside for 125 years almost caused its premature demise. In 1887, surveyors sent to determine the precise location of the Cherokee's new female seminary building selected a site that included the sapling walnut tree. Gideon Morgan, a prominent Cherokee businessman and secretary of the three-man building committee, had planted the tree several years earlier. He persuaded the surveyors to relocate the building a little to the north to preserve the tree. It grew slowly each year as 20 classes of young women earned degrees from the tribal school. During many of those years, Miss Anne Florence Wilson, principal of the female seminary since 1875, supervised the school's rigorous curriculum and led her students on long daily walks. The black walnut tree continued to thrive after the buildings and grounds were acquired by the state of Oklahoma from the Cherokees in 1909 for a teacher training school. The spreading branches of the 25-year-old tree were large enough to provide shade when the graduates of Northeastern State Normal School established the tradition of sharing a Last Supper together on class day before graduation each May. The seniors preempted the real estate beneath the walnut tree, relegating other classes to locations farther from the building. The stately walnut tree was fully matured when the Great Depression drained the meager resources of Northeastern State Teachers College and its students. It showered the campus of Northeastern State College with walnuts annually as World War II shrank the school's enrollment, and as the institution mushroomed during the post-war prosperity. During the turbulent 1960s and 70s, as new institutions attracted students who might have attended Northeastern, the school adjusted to the end of an era of rapid growth. By that time, the tree had begun to show signs of age. A few branches didn't leaf out in the spring, and insects began boring into its trunk. The tree was over 100 in 1989 when Northeastern State University commemorated the centennial of the opening of the Cherokee Female Seminary building in Tahlequah. Its glory days were in the past. Seniors no longer gathered beneath it on class day, and no one mentioned it in the speeches that marked the occasion. Its historic importance was acknowledged in 2007, the centennial of Oklahoma statehood, when it was designated a centennial witness tree, a living observer to Oklahoma's admission to the Union. Today, the tree continues to frame Seminary Hall as it has for 125 years, but it's old, insect-infested, and dying. Bark no longer protects the northern side of its trunk. Its branches still rise as high as the building's roof, but only a few have leaves. I doubt that it will witness the 126th anniversary of the building's dedication. But like the descendants of the seminarians who continue to observe May 7th, its offspring are taking root in Northeastern's nurturing environment. My hope is that the saplings on each side of Seminary Hall will frame the building into the next century and witness progress that will rival that observed by their parent. When the tree comes down, I hope there's enough sound heartwood to craft an artifact that will commemorate its role in the history of the building, the seminary, and Northeastern. I suggest that an artist be commissioned to sculpt the Cherokees' tribal symbol, the mythic phoenix rising from the ashes of disaster. Certainly the Cherokees, and to a lesser extent Northeastern, have suffered reversals, but character is measured less by success than by the determination to overcome adversity. A soaring phoenix carved from the wood of the black walnut located prominently in Seminary Hall would be a fitting tribute to a tree that shared the first 125 years of the building's history.
Thank you, Dr. Agnew. We are honored to have representatives from entities that help shape NSU's unique birthright and heritage, our Cherokee roots, the transition created by Oklahoma statehood, and our current governance structure. In the interest of time, each speaker brings their greetings to you. They will introduce themselves. At this time, we'll start with Principal Chief Bill John Baker.
OCO. I am Bill John Baker, Principal Chief of the Cherokee Nation, and the first member of my family to graduate from Northeastern State University. Now, you all know my mother, Dr. Isabel Baker, and you know she graduated here, but she graduated from Northeastern State College, as did my brothers. My grandparents graduated from normal school. We have a long and storied history with this building, with this campus, with this university. The Cherokees have always honored and revered and believed in education. The only trust fund that the Cherokee Nation has set up is for education in case everything went south. This university, the second female seminary, but the first female seminary was the first institution of higher learning west of the Mississippi for any woman of any race, and I'm proud that that's a Cherokee accomplishment. This could be a Cherokee celebration. This could be a Northeastern College, State University celebration. This could be a UKB celebration. This could be a City of Tahlequah celebration. But we're so intertwined and joined together at the hip that this is our celebration. I walk through these hallowed halls. Doesn't matter who I'm with, what Cherokee, it's not long before memories of the past come forward and we remember. We remember that we believe in education. We believe that it is the future of the Cherokee Nation. It has always been the future of the Cherokee Nation. God bless each and every one of you today. God bless Northeastern.
Ayuda di kaske ganita waton aniga tu na ugo you na wutagilostane na se chitil chikano ha agigon ha chitega de kwaska. Anyway, my name is George Wycliffe. I am the principal chief of the Katua Cherokee Band. This walnut tree he's talking about, and I said that in Cherokee. It's been there a long time, and it will be here another 100 years. I think there's a little one growing over there. So that means there is nothing that's going to stop Northeastern from growing. When I was here getting my education, it was just changing over from a teacher's college to what you are today. I've seen it grow. We learn English here. My first language is Cherokee. And when I was going to school here, I learned English, because before I could get my bachelor's degree, I had to pass an English proficiency test, okay? Then I got my master's degree, and before I could get that, I had to pass another one, okay? We speak in reverse, just like the Spanish people do. Well, anyway, I've seen it grow. It's a great university, and I have seen a lot of progress, a lot of buildings, and it's just going to get larger. Let's all clap and for the good job that's been done here. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Chris Benz, Secretary of State for the state of Oklahoma, here on behalf of Governor Fallin and the state of Oklahoma. I want to start off by taking a little bit of personal privilege in thanking President Turner and his staff and leadership of NSU to invite me to be here today. I've had the pleasure over the last few years to be on campus in classrooms and then touring the campus to understand the what's going on here in Tahlequah. And I can tell you that it's always my fondness for this community grows every time I come here. So I was speaking to Chief Baker earlier, and I think he put it very well just a moment ago, that there's strong collaboration between the different organizations here in this community. I want to say on behalf of the state of Oklahoma that congratulations on those collaborations and those partnerships between the university and the tribes and the city. The state of Oklahoma looks forward to a strong relationship with the Cherokee people and the Cherokee Nation in the future. The opportunity to reflect, thank you for letting me be a part of that. As I was reading some of the history, you see names like Florence Wilson, who led the female seminary for many years as principal, had brought discipline and a strict rigorous education to the students at the time. Chief John Ross and his vision and the vision of the Cherokee people, we have to acknowledge today. And as we reflect, we have to say how visionary that truly was in bringing a very strong, rigorous education to the Cherokee Nation. And then eventually, as that has helped, I think, us as Oklahomans to build on our education experience. Looking to the future, I'd be remiss, and I'm going to read the governor's proclamation here in a moment, but I would be remiss if I didn't, as we look to the future and at these events when we do reflect and then we also look to the future. Governor Fallin speaks a lot about a new minimum in today's education world. And as we think about where we're going to go in the next 125 years, I think we have to recognize that the competition that our students face today as they go out into the world is intense. Our world today in 2014 is much smaller than it was in 1889. We have technology now that brings us all together as world citizens, and it's more important than ever that we prepare our students to be able to compete and to be able to get jobs and provide for their families in the future. So the governor talks a lot about a new minimum and how the high school education of 25 years ago doesn't always get our students where they need to be today. And so the challenge, I think, is to challenge all of us and challenge our students to go beyond, seek a higher education, a technical education, all forms of education to prepare for the 21st century workforce. And so it's very encouraging to see what the Cherokee Nation and the Cherokee people are doing, what NSU is doing. And again, we're honored to be a part of that today. I'll read the proclamation from the governor in closing here. I'm pleased to commend Northeastern State University on the occasion of the 125th anniversary of the opening of Seminary Hall on Wednesday, May 7th, 2014. This day of celebration goes far beyond an historic building. It recognizes the vision and resolve of the Cherokee Nation. Today, Northeastern State University is in its 113th year of lighting the lamp of knowledge. I encourage all of you to meet the challenge of continuing to nurture this educational environment, to expand the knowledge, skills, and creativity of your graduates. As Oklahoma's fourth largest public four-year institution, NSU is a major contributor to our state's economic and educational vitality. I'm confident that this historic day will be the springboard for even greater accomplishments in the future. It's signed by Governor Mary Fallin. And again, on behalf of her and the state of Oklahoma, we're very honored to be here today. Thank you.